Hello, good morning as we are getting folks here on day 2 of the L&D Cares Career Growth Summit. This is version 2.0. Would love to see some folks joining in here in the feed. If you are present in the room at this time, say hello in the feed, introduce yourself, where you're from, one fun fact about you, if you will. It winds up right now that we have a group full of dog lovers and apparently people with connections to Northern Virginia, which is apparently something that everybody has in common in the world. So guys, this is a really, really great topic on finding the right program for coaching. It's near and dear to my heart. My wife actually struggled with this last year until she discovered, she went down the ICF route, but I remember it was a real struggle for her figuring out what path to go down. So really excited to hear what y'all have to say as industry experts. I'm gonna let you guys take it from here. Look forward to hearing from you. I'll give you a quick little 5-minute warning when we get.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Batman. That was a wonderful introduction. I'm Jennifer Rogers. I am a coach and one of the directors for L&D Cares. So if you have been in one of our coaching cohorts or would like to be in a coaching cohort, you've probably received some information from me. And I am joined today by 3 of our cohort coaches for L&D Cares. I will let them introduce themselves. So Andy, would you kick us off?
Sure. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. My name is Andy Peszka, and I am a career and life coach. I am a trainer for Bloomberg. I work on a training team of 6 people servicing 1,500 individuals. So we are quite busy with creating and curating different content, different types of courses and education for folks who work within our global data division within Bloomberg. As far as my main responsibilities, it's new hire onboarding, communication, sales skills, things of that nature. And coaching was kind of like a natural element of that. I've done a lot of mentoring, and then coaching became something that I really wanted to follow and have done so. But it's been extremely rewarding, and I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks. Liz?
Hi, I'm Liz McGuire. By day, I'm a human resources director for a medical association. But in my spare time, I'm a leadership and career coach. And I've really got into that by volunteering for Hire Heroes and working with our military who are about to transition to corporate life. And I've most recently been involved volunteering for this program, and I've met some amazing people through it, and just love combining the notion of developing your leadership skills as you envision your next role. So I'm happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation today.
Thanks, Liz. And Anne. Anne's our early bird this morning. It's early where she is.
Glad to be here. So I'm Anne. I'm both a learning consultant and a life coach. And in my most recent role is a new foster dog mom. And that my dear furry son is Pascal is his name. He's keeping me very busy. Yeah, I have so much empathy for everyone who has kids and dogs. It's definitely expanding my patience.
It is a journey in patience. Yes, yes. Oh, you're getting some love.
Thank you.
So I thought we would just, before we jump in, we've just got a list of questions that we're going to go through that will hopefully share with you kind of our stories for why we decided to be coaches, and some folks have already shared that, and then how we found the right program. So hopefully through those questions, we'll tease that out for you all. But I thought we would start by asking how many of you have either experienced coaching or are a coach, have been a coach. So just share in the feed your experience with coaching. Good. Both from Leanne. Yes and yes. Good. Coached both. Yeah. Great. So lots of you, I'm looking, just reading through the feed, and it looks like lots of you have experienced both sides of that. You've been a coach and you've experienced being coached. And so I'm excited to talk with all of you and just go through this conversation today, because it is a super empowering opportunity. So let's just start with the very first question, and that is, as a person who's in L&D, as a practitioner, why should I consider coaching? So anybody want to take that?
I can start out with that
Okay.
one.
Great.
There's a lot to be said for wanting to help people, right? There's a lot to be said for wanting to expand your role in your current organization, right? Helping to, directing people to solve problems and helping to grow in the organization, talking to people about leadership, talking to people about their career paths. So I think one of the things for you to consider is that if you like having those types of conversations, if you enjoy having those types of opportunities with individuals, for me, I started with mentoring. And mentoring, as we know, or if you're not aware, is quite different from coaching, right? Mentoring is more of you're the subject matter expert. You're the one bringing some answers or some clarity to the situation. And in coaching, it's not that. It's you're empowering them through questioning and active listening to really find their own solution. So if you like kind of that type of scenario of solving puzzles, you do have to follow that 80-20 rule, right? 20% is when you do the talking and 80% is the other people. So if you have that discipline, and believe me, it's hard when you know the answer to hold back and allow them to find it themselves. But those to me are good things to think about. And just one other thing too is if you're willing and dedicated to invest in yourself right now with that education of becoming a coach, with going through the certification process, sometimes in our careers we hit a wall in our own education and investing in ourselves. So we have to think about that. If you're willing to put that time into it, because believe me, coaching is not half in, half out. You're 100% or 110% in. So you really need to make that time, put some other things on the side and make sure that you're willing to dedicate yourself to it. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
I would say looking at another aspect of that would be if you're being tasked with trying to solve a problem in your organization, being able to ask those powerful questions, being very proficient at active listening, understanding people dynamics, are people being reactive? What is the root cause of the problem? So being able to look at things through a coaching lens is super important to uncover whether training is really the solution or not, or what type of program you would need. And then having those coaching skills, you may see that as an added layer to your L&D programming, that individuals need an opportunity to make the learning stick, and often through supplemental coaching that may happen.
I want to add on to what Andy was saying in terms of empowering, because my first thought is we need more people that are taking responsibility for their own actions. And I wanted to talk about responsibility as a difference from burden, because before coaching, and I'm probably going to get a little philosophical here, that I before coaching, I mistook responsibility as burden. And I've definitely met people that took responsibility as blame. And these are all different concepts. So I think coaching was just as much for myself as it was for my desire to help people, because people are only going to go as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah. Very well said, and I agree. And I think just from me, L&D, learning and development. So if you're thinking about it as a practitioner, it just fosters your own learning and your own development. When I got into coaching, it was because I was in a role in a corporate setting that I didn't have a way to move up. And I had a manager that said, have you thought about broadening? And, kind of, broadening in place. And coaching was that thing for me. And I absolutely love it because as a learning and development practitioner, somebody with experience facilitating and designing programs, you end up being the face of those programs. And coaching was a great opportunity for me because it was like, I didn't have to be the face. I didn't have to have the answers. It wasn't up to me to come up with the answers. So that was really helpful for me. So so those are some of the things to consider. Even if you are a learning and development practitioner, maybe you are, somebody that is instructional design or facilitation. So why did you decide to become a coach? I think for me, I did it because I love this light bulb moment right here, where you just see people, they go through this, they're completely unclear about what they want. And then they go through all these machinations. And then they have this light bulb moment. And it is empowering, and it can be life changing. And so watching people go through that process and being able to partner with them to do that was part of why I became a coach. How about some of the rest of you?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That is the we call that the aha moment, right? Yeah. And it's so rewarding to see that. It's great when you have somebody there who is, you're talking to them and you're just asking them questions and they're just moving through the conversation, and then all of a sudden, their face lights up. So that's absolutely one of the things that I take away from it. But like I said before, with me, it was starting with that mentoring piece, being fortunate to work with so many new hires in the onboarding process of my company. I have a lot of folks who follow up with me afterwards and ask me lots of questions, and it's great. But I wanted to take it to a new level. I wanted to really challenge myself and build those skills with coaching. Be able to offer within my organization different ways to solve different problems that may be not currently addressed or addressed in a different manner. And eventually for me down the road, there could be some opportunities. I know coaching sometimes leads to starting your own business. That's a great goal as well. For me, that might be a long-term goal down the road, but I think it's again, that challenging of, one of the things with coaching too, is being able to allow for silence, right? When you ask a question and you see that person or a group of people just kind of pondering, you want to say something, you want to break the silence, but you have to be aware to let that just happen naturally. And then that leads to some really successful conversations.
Yeah.
I had a colleague who went through a coaching program, and I watched her grow and develop exponentially as she went through that program. And when she completed it, her presence in meetings was dramatically different. Her ability to ask powerful questions was just terrific. And I saw that capacity that she built, and I wanted in because I knew it was a huge growth opportunity. And I would say that it delivered for me 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, there was definitely several different reasons. One thought I've had as a kid is, if one negative person can have a domino effect, what can a positive person have an effect on? And so I've always focused on that. And then I fast forward in grad school, I took my first emotional intelligence class where I learned the concept of coaching. And at that point, I was a shell of a person. I did not know myself at all. And then I learned this concept of coaching, that everyone has a wisdom within them. And I was like, what do you mean? That I have this ability to lead my own life and not have everybody else tell me what to do. That was my light bulb moment. And then from then on, I wanted to be a coach.
Wow. Thanks, Shel. So I've got a couple of questions here from the Q&A panel, and I'm going to start with this one from Justin. How do you navigate situations where, I think this goes back to the previous question, where both training and coaching are needed and warranted?
Well, as I mentioned, often a coaching component is built into programs. And it can be, if it's a long-term engagement, you arrange for coaching sessions between workshops where you build on what was taught and you work with the client to embed that into their skill set. At times, issues arise during programming, which leads the L&D professional to see that, oh, this is really an issue that needs to be addressed in one-on-one coaching as opposed to a group effort. So it kind of makes itself known at different times in the L&D process.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. So for me, from my view, excuse me, as a learning consultant, I can see how training is the awareness piece, the teaching the concept. Excuse me, my voice. And then coaching is, as Liz was saying, that in-depth one-on-one, continuing to deepen the awareness and the learning is how I would view it.
Yeah, I think that's great, Ann. I think that's a great response. It's, someone wants a training course, signs up for a training course, they want to learn something, and you give them a set of learning outcomes, right? You tell them that after this course, you're going to be able to do X, Y, Z, or 1, 2, 3, right? In a coaching scenario, it's much different. It's much broader. And what you need to do is you need to uncover what their goals are, right? So in the training, you're like, okay, here's the goals you're going to come away with. But in the coaching is, what do you want to accomplish? What are the goals that you want to satisfy? And as Ann put it very well, what's your accountability to the process, right? So it's that type of conversation that leads to that coaching element. I hope that it helps to answer the question.
Yeah, I think I hope so too. And the only other thing I would add is that, to your point, Andy, that training teaches a concept. It gives you the knowledge about a concept, but then if coaching is needed, it's kind of, okay, so how are you applying what you now know about this concept in what you do and how you live your life, and how do you want to use it? So great. So let me, 25 minutes goes by so fast. So this next slide gets to another question in the chat that Allison asked, what coaching certifications do you recommend? I think each of us went a different path, maybe. I went through a coach training program through the University of Texas at Dallas, and it was an ICF ACTP program, and actually found it by chance. I didn't do a lot of research or hemming and hawing. It was like, this program was recommended to me. It looked really good. I said, yes, I'll do that. So I'm going to let other people kind of share. They may have had more time and thought process in there.
You got about 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make my story really quick. My story is a little similar to yours, Jennifer. I'm a firm believer that if you establish your goal and you're in line, I'm going to get philosophical again, in line with your purpose in this lifetime, and you listen to your intuition, which, by the way, I didn't previous to my emotional intelligence class, but once I did, I followed the breadcrumbs, and that's how I found my program. So mine's not a good example or a different example.
Yeah, it's confusing. I'll be honest with you. Any one of you go on, Google coach courses, and you will get literally thousands of different examples of opportunities. So one of the things for me was to really see if I really wanted to do it first. So I would recommend to try and find like a 2-day coaching session, like an introductory type of course. There's quite a few of them out there. And that'll give you a real taste of what you're going into with coaching, because some of these other courses, and of course you always hear about hours. You need 5,000 hours, you need 27,000 hours, and things like that in order to earn these certifications. Don't worry about that. Find out if you really like coaching. Find out if you really grasp the difference between mentorship, coaching, training, therapy, things of that nature. So start there, start small, and see if it fits with your schedule. I chose a course that was very flexible. I did choose a course that was both self-work and once a week instruction. It was a 24-week course, and it was part of ICF certification, or the hours go towards that part of the International Coach Federation. But yeah, I'd say, start out seeing if you really like it, and then, ask people, network. That's how I found the course that I actually took. After the 2-day course, I asked the instructor for some advice because I thought she was great. So I would try it that way, or recommend that.
Yeah.
I chose IPAC because the scheduling and the flexibility worked for me. And I had just finished my master's degree, and I was tired of the school and academic approach. So I wanted a program that was hands-on, that really focused on tools and those types of opportunities. And I would highly recommend that you speak to people who've been through several different programs and ask them about their experience and describe the actual work that you do in the program to make sure it fits with what you want and it fits into your schedule as well.
Yeah. I just want to add one more piece. I mean, there's so many different routes too. Do you want to be ICF certified? Go that route, or because honestly, there are Groupons with coaching degrees as well. So, what level of coaching? I don't know if that's the right terminology, but just there's so many different avenues to go down.
Yeah. Does anybody know? One of the questions is, is anybody aware of any scholarships or other funding opportunities for these types of certifications? And I am not. I don't know if any of you are.
I don't know, but I would say during these times of the pandemic, ask for a scholarship.
Yeah. And then another question, because I know we're coming to the end of our time. The other question I have is from Christopher, and it's about what is the difference for us between counseling and coaching? So I'll let one of you take that one.
Well, I think that's one of the first things that you learn in a coaching program is to distinguish those roles and to really be cognizant of what the meaning and the purpose of coaching is, where you're really guiding the client to come to their own discovery and to answer their own questions, uncover what's blocking them. Whereas counseling is really a totally different scenario, and the type of work that's done in both of these is very different. And so it's one very important thing that you learn very early in your program.
It's such a great conversation, and so many qualified and really super people on the stage. Thank you all for doing that.